Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.
Welcome to the Rock and Review. I'm thrilled to have on an artist I've been trying to get on the show for a few years now. You probably know his 19 top 20 songs. Virtuoso, pianist, singer, songwriter, A.J. Croce.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming on. You know, when this album first came out, Just Like Medicine, I couldn't stop listening to it, you know, and then I start looking at it, you know, and I love how you took sort of a vintage look with this, AJ,
Yeah.
you know, with the record and with the CD, but you've got, you know, Steve Cropper, Vince Gill, David Hood, Colin Linden, you know, Dan Penn, the McCrary sisters.
Right.
Oh, and
Muscle Shoals horns.
I was going to bring that.
Yeah.
It's like going, it's, you know, besides you,
Yeah.
you know, and what an incredible album to add to, you know, your list of great albums over the years.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. We had fun making it. We recorded the songs live. We got as many people into Dan's studio as we could, and really had a blast.
Well, and I think it's so interesting. You know, you and I had bumped into each other years ago in San Diego, and so
Yeah.
you kind of split your time between the two homes in San Diego, where your mom lives, and then
Yeah.
obviously in Nashville.
Yeah, and I left San Diego a number of years ago. I'm just in Nashville now, but
But they
I'm
still
out
consider
there.
you a hometown guy.
I know, they
You were there
do.
for so
And
long,
I-
and you were in, you know, playing at the lounge there next to your mom's restaurant all the time.
I was, especially as even in my mid-teens. It was a regular gig. You know, I'd play probably 4 or 5 nights a week around town.
Right.
And I'd be in a garage rock and roll band playing a Vox Continental. Then I'd be in a jazz, you know, or R&B group.
Right.
You know, classic R&B,
yeah.
and then I'd go down and I'd play either originals and Croce's allowed me to play originals.
Right.
But I also, you know, you do 3 or 4 sets,
Yeah.
and so you're pulling from all over the place.
Well, and like you said too, and particularly, you know, you're a multi-genre artist, and also besides being known for piano, you also play guitar very well.
Oh, thank
Because
you.
I've seen you.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
but, you
I
know,
came to it late, but I love it.
But you said it's always fun too when people are like calling out different songs,
Yeah.
requests.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure, you know, and it took you a while to get into it, but I know that you started doing Croce Plays Croce
Right.
as a nod to your father, Jim.
Absolutely. You know, it really came naturally. I grew up listening to his record collection, and then about 15 years ago, I was transferring some old reel-to-reel tapes to digital, and heard this one in particular that was all cover. Yeah, my dad mostly, you know, he recorded everything, but a lot of the early stuff was, you know, covers when he was, you know, playing on Friday nights.
Totally.
You know, outside
We've all
of
been
Philly.
there.
Yeah, and I mean, because his only real full-time job as a musician came in the last 18 months of his life.
That was so
You know?
amazing to me because you look at the number of hits.
Yeah, and it all came in 18 months.
Wow.
You know, and so it was 3 albums in 18 months, and all those that touring and writing. You know,
Right.
So he was a busy guy in that time period, and I found this thing where there's a bit of nostalgia because, of course, we're playing some of those big songs,
Right.
and people love to hear that.
And also
But-
bringing your own voice to them also.
of
AJ.
course, and I'm playing my stuff, and then I play the stuff that really connects us.
Right.
You know, because when I listened to some of those demos, I heard songs that I didn't expect to hear because I'd been covering them.
Right.
You know, and they were oddball songs from Bessie Smith or Fats Waller
That
or
is so
Pink
much fun.
Anderson.
Such good music.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I think it's incredible that you're doing that. And I had to bring up also that last year you did Operator, and it was in a commercial.
Oh, I got a name. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a name.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. It was I got a name. You know, there's so many hit songs to pull from.
Yeah.
But you did that. Was that for the Dale Earnhardt Jr.?
It was it was for the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Goodyear commercial,
Yeah.
and for the Daytona 500.
I thought that was so awesome. You know, and a lot of our viewers may not know, AJ, but it's like you're, you know, besides in between, you know, doing hit albums and songs and the Croce Plays Croce, also you're very prolific with the commercial music you do.
Sure.
And you're kind
Film
of
and TV
bigger
and
bigger than Elvis in Japan right now, particularly with the Toyota commercials.
Yeah, Toyota, and there's a handful of them going right now.
Well, and I found it so interesting, AJ, to where the Japanese listeners really grabbed a hold of your early albums as well.
Yeah, and then they got into this into this pop thing where, you know, they started calling me whenever they needed something that sounded like Nielsen or like a Beatle thing,
Yeah.
you know, and that's really fun because, you know, it's not, I play all kinds of stuff.
Right.
So it was fun to dive, or, you know, they go, hey, you know that ELO song that goes kind of like this? Well, you know, can you write something around that idea? You know? And
which
it's
is
fun.
right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, sure. Why
You know,
not?
particularly that you spent the time in London and everything.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and you're playing in the pubs.
Yeah.
But then, to me, it was so amazing how much you toured with, you know, B.B. King and Ray Charles and
Aretha,
Willie Nelson,
yeah.
Aretha.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the people that you were listening to as a kid on your transistor radio.
Yes.
Then you end up touring with.
Exactly, and you know, I mean, BB was the guy that really started my career in a lot of ways, and the other person was Mae Axton. Mae Axton heard me play at Arlo Guthrie's house, and she said, "You gotta, I mean, Cowboy Jack Clement needs to meet you."
Wow.
And so they flew me out to Nashville from San Diego, and I did a session. And I walked in, and Jerry Lee was walking out, and it was just, you know, for anyone that knows Cowboy, he was just a true eccentric, a beautiful human, really funny.
And he was a producer on one of your albums.
Yes, he was. He produced a couple things on 12 Tales.
How amazing is that?
It was great, and it was so nice to see him. He was not well at the time, but he was having so much fun in the studio,
Right.
in a kimono, playing a ukulele along with what we were doing.
That is
and
so
it was,
amazing.
Yeah,
You know, and not to embarrass you,
AJ.
AJ, but you have had hits on, you know, jazz charts, Americana, and blues.
But,
so you've pretty
yeah.
much conquered multiple charts, and you're not that old. and you started playing with all these big names when you were a teenager.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the first thing that happened was really with Floyd Dixon when I was about 16.
Right.
And Floyd,
And if you're going to work with anybody with
Yeah.
the amount of hit songs that
Yeah.
Floyd Dixon had.
he was part of that Central Avenue blues scene in the 50s. He wrote
Yeah.
like Hey Bartender and one Scotch, one Bourbon, one Beer, and
You just reeled off
yeah.
my entire set list from
yeah,
my
wine,
80s
wine,
band.
wine. Yeah. And so I would open up, he would play, and then we'd finish the show with these like kind of obscure Albert Ammons, Meade Lux Lewis boogies.
Yeah.
And we toured all over Southern California regularly. You know, it's
Yeah.
like we played together a lot for a couple years.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive for a teenager to be doing that and to hold their own at that time.
Well, I guess I wasn't thinking about it. I was just doing it. You know.
Doing what you love.
Yeah.
Well, now I have to
exactly.
bring up also, I heard a rumor that you're working on some new music that may be coming out later this year or in 2020.
Yeah,
Maybe back in the studio?
I'll be back in the studio in August making a new record. And it's all sort of based around the songs that all my friends request. It's like it's like all of the requests when people come to my house. They're like, you know, we have a drink, and they go, hey, well, you know that Ray Charles song? Hey, you know that Beach Boys song? Hey, you know that Neil Young song? You know this song? Or you know that Billy Preston song? And I'm like, sure, yeah. And it's just fun. It's like I asked all of my friends, what do you remember me playing? And they
how fun.
said, oh, I remember this one, or I remember that Velvet Underground song, or I
Yeah.
remember this. And it was so diverse. But, you know, again, it's me doing it my way.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be really fun to, it'll be very relaxed because it'll be like being at home.
Oh, totally.
You know?
And you probably have some of your friends come over into the studio again, too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, if only you knew somebody who could come over and play guitar and sing. Yeah, maybe you just have to check the phone.
Right,
And see if you
exactly.
can find anybody in there.
I'm going to look hard.
Yeah, I think maybe you'll find somebody. But I want to bring up to our viewers too. You know, for you know, your upcoming shows and you know, and with music, with everything else you're doing, where's the best place for our viewers to keep up with you?
ajcrocemusic.com. But honestly, the most sort of up to date is, you know, Facebook.
Right.
If you go to, you know, just the AJ Croce page,
Yeah.
then you can find what's happening, and I'm posting about anything from like what I'm eating or my garden or you know
And
what
I
I'm
like the stuff
drinking.
that you do on Instagram too.
Yeah,
It's like, well, here's
just
the coffee.
Like, yeah, here's my coffee this morning, and so it's pretty personal, you know.
That's great, though, but just like your music.
Yeah, well, thank you very much.
Well,
I
and I'll
appreciate
tell
it.
you what, if you want to go see him, and I highly recommend Croce Plays Croce, get your tickets early because, as you know, at the Franklin Theater and pretty much anywhere AJ goes, they're selling out. And we'll be looking for new music. And if you haven't gotten it yet, be sure and get a copy of this. Just Like Medicine. You're going to love the songs. So many hits on here that, you know, I just enjoyed the entire album, and I think you will too. So be sure and follow him, get some music, and go see him live. AJ Croce, thanks for watching The Rockin' Review.
Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.